for ourselves. We need to understand that we also have power. We can boycott. Yeah, but that is hard. Maybe too hard.
This is Styles FM.
With Styles FM on the go, you can listen to your favorite programs by calling the USA number 213-992-4360. If you're in the UK, is 033-0010-3322.
Hey, are you ready? You ready? All right. All right, let's go. Do you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? Yes, it's on a Saturday. Every Saturday morning, live on Styles 96.1, the People Station. Here's an invitation to join yours truly, Colin Anthony, the man with all the money, honey. The program is called Smooth Sailing. Every Saturday morning from 9 o'clock until 1 on the p.m. It's gonna be on Styles FM 96.1. Have you got a plan? Oh, you've got a plan? We've got a plan. Do remember to join us. Smooth sailing.
Are you ready for the time of your life?
Mr. Brown, the work material done, you know. What me fi do?
Check Robinson's and Sons Hardware, man. Them have everything you need and more. They are at 18 West Palm Avenue, Port Antonio, Portland. Paints, nails, doors, everything to meet your hardware needs and much more. Call them at 993-9763 or 382-6209 and email them at sandrhardware@gmail.com.
Mr. Brown, me get everything we need quick and fast. Sure, maybe we could have just stopped the chatting so we could have done the work just as fast.
What was that, Johnny?
No, man. We just say Robinson and Son are going good.
Robinson's and Sons Hardware. We are always here to serve you.
Kasha Black say, same boat.
Emmanuel, you might go chance them to twerk. When them say we from Africa, we young. Never have no criminal record. I know they take you go and brand. Standing wide. Marcus give you a profit first, man. Then me put. If you have a clean record, passport, a visa, you can't pass them put. Pass them put. So we don't come here for no visa, no passport. We don't come here for no visa, no passport. The whole of we come down here on the same boat. The whole of we come down here on the same boat. We don't come here for no visa, no passport. We don't come here for no visa, no passport. All Google of you run like a same boat. The whole of we come down here on the same boat. The police and soldier, all the commissioner, the nurse and doctor, the judge and lawyer, also the governor general and prime minister. The whole of we come down here on the same boat. Rise up, oh in mighty ways. Rise and take your stand again. My people still cutting through the game. Babylon, them and use them brain. No change on our feet, but we are not free. Living in this outdoor captivity. My people still living in poverty. Fear of safety can't be free. Don't come here for no visa, no passport. Don't come here for no visa, no passport. The whole of we come down here on the same boat. The whole of we come down here on the same boat. We don't come here for no visa, no passport. We don't come here for no visa, no passport. But like a star fabric and the same boat. The whole of we come down here on the same boat. So get the fire, so get the America.
Well, this is the original foreign mind. So that you must be blind. Whoa, you must be blind. I worry them, I worry them, I worry them, I worry them foreign mind. They must be blind. Worry them, I worry them, I worry them, I worry them foreign mind. The foreign is a place where people come and go. When some people go to foreign, they see things they never see before and forget all about their brethren. Propaganda we live in support. Right now he's down there sleeping on the floor. Can't you see? Worry them, I worry them, I worry them, I worry them foreign mind. They must be blind. Worry them, I worry them, I worry them, I worry them foreign mind. Look on me black, look on me shine. This is not a secret to keep in your mind.
So the North American plantation becomes a place that all Africans in this Western world have been programmed to get into. Everybody want to get into the Merrimaca. Everybody want to get into the land of opportunity. So it becomes a magnet, like a magnetic apple. But you know, you have apples that have worms in them. They have rotten apples. And so this place that has been sort of symbolized by the phrase, the big apple, it becomes the place where all aspiring migrants and immigrants and but they galvanize their energies to go to the land of gold, where you can pick up gold off the street and you can become rich and famous. But within that context of that being rich and famous and making it, there's this force in there called racism. This force in America that refuses to go away because it's an ideological principle. It is one that keeps the white man in dominance. And dominance is what the white man is all about. How to dominate environment, how to dominate nations, how to dominate cultures. So I end up in a situation in North America now where the dominant philosophy is about race first, what the white man hug up. And race first is an important principle amongst all controlling groups. The Indians, the Chinese, and so the white man in America practices race first. When the black man in America attempts to do that, they call him racist. And therefore, he have to back off. So the whole notion of keeping the black man off balance is there. When the black man in North America talks about separatists and separation, they make him look like him as an enemy. And at the same time, there is no reality behind integration. So it's a perplexing situation on the North American plantation. Yeah, the black man get locked up in a sort of bind and is in sports and religion and entertainment. Enough of the energy is locked up. We don't really see or hear much about the scientists and the technological man them and the science. We don't hear much about that. But we know it is there in the background, but it's not the model. The model is the sportsman. The model is the movie star and the entertainer. So there's no owners. We're not getting to the level of ownership, of production. We're not getting to the level where black people are able to hire black people. So the lifestyle is about making it. And making it in America means you have to actually link up with white people. So we look into the American scenario now, we see all the top black entertainers, 95% of them. If it's a man, them have a white girl. And if it's a woman, she have a white man. The system is very crucial there because it is driven by race. And the African people now have been driven to think that race is not important. And it's all because of what we're going to call false consciousness created by the love of Jesus. The love of Jesus creates a false consciousness in black people. The hope that all people who look like Jesus will eventually become loving. That's a fantasy. False consciousness. So the expectation of the unity will not come until the black people see themselves as self-reliant in their meditation. It comes with correct knowledge of their own story. It comes with shaking off a lot of the mythologies and the fables that make black people feel inferior. So the teachment, we're looking at how is it this small population of the world can control such a vast population of the world. What is it that this small group uses to control? It must be something to have to do with your head. It must be something that in your head. It must be something in your thinking. It might be in your food. It might be in your water. But it is something that is in your brain. It's in your thinking. So we have to check ourselves. How much do we really appreciate our own black self? And how much of us still really fear the devil that is black? It's part of the socialization. It's part of the education. But unlearning is crucial. There was also the NAACP, you know. It's an organization that was formed in America. Many people think it was formed on behalf of black people, but that is not true. The title of the organization is the National Advancement of Colored People. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And in America now, the mulatto class were being told that they were better than the black Africans. Yeah, so it's all about divide and conquer. So the NAACP was really set up by some rich men, Jews in particular. And they were really opposing Marcus Garvey. So the NAACP was really a sort of organization to fight against the UNIA. Because Garvey, you know, was prominent with his philosophy of black racial self-empowerment. Up ye mighty race, you can accomplish what you will.
And the saga continue. Johnny was a singer in a Jamaica. Say him want to make it in a America. So him check out the embassy and get a visa. Next day Johnny flying and here Jamaica. Yes, Johnny left him queen for a whole York scene. Start to live the American dream. Johnny was starting to do quite well. Underestimated this a concrete hell. He meet a white thing settle in a Brooklyn. Little more Johnny was free basing. Johnny looking better in a New York. End up sniffing coke in a Central Park. Now Johnny out of work, him really get broke. Him run out of luck, poor Johnny. Johnny never want no ganja fi puff, cause him says smoking wasn't enough. So him start check out 42nd Street, where all the punk heads meet to cheat. Johnny looking better in a New York. End up sniffing coke in a Central Park. Now Johnny out of work, him really get broke. Him run out of luck, poor Johnny. Man for man wasn't really Johnny Bag, but still yet him end up becoming a fag. Trying to act cool, playing the fool. In a Manhattan, Johnny get rotten. It was a cool winter night, the moon never light, and Brooklyn Bridge was a crowd. Heard the voices saying aloud. Another one lose him sanity, give away him pride and dignity. Trying to act cool, playing the fool.
Metamorphosis continuing. Listen to the sounds of Mutabaruka. Virgin has been on the front line from all time. Yeah, so this place now set up as the El Dorado. The place, a great magnet, attracting, opening up the imagination and hoping that you shall make it. One day you will be rich and famous in this place. Of course, the black man on the ground there doesn't necessarily share that view, because he's feeling the brunt of the racial oppression and the police violence and the brutality right there on the land. Black man them in the Caribbean islands now aspiring to go to that place. Because of course the grass always look greener on the other side. But on the continent itself, very, very tedious, brutal and barbaric. Lynchings, black man being quartered, the practicing of the violence to transform African people into manageable chattel, the destruction of culture and identity and self. So we find that black man struggling in North America under whole political oppression because laws are created by the superstructure. The white men control the Congress and they control the judiciary. So they make laws. And these laws, Dred Scott laws, these are all laws that incriminate and lock up black people. So the laws run America, but this white man make laws. The white man pass laws. And anything he wants, he must make a law the next morning and pass it. And so it is. Because he has the backing of the police force. So the Africans on that land has felt it. Felt the wrath in some ways that Africans in the Caribbean don't know. And in that wrath, you have to find a way to survive. And it's more skill, more deception. Have to develop personality to deceive even the background man himself. At the same time, have to be happy every time. Because you have to keep the white man relaxed. So in this happy Negro state, it's still a black man who plan revolution, you know. Because it's in our nature to rebel against oppression. So after the emancipation of the Africans in North America, they were defined now as freedmen. But the clan still existed. Racism never got away. And the brutality and the same thing continued. So there had to be a struggle now for what the Africans would now call civil rights. Because after all, everybody is supposed to be a human being according to the scripture and according to the dictionary. But black people keep forgetting that the Constitution didn't speak to I and I. Because in those days, it spoke of the African as 2/3 of a human being. Them say we're never complete. So they still have that belief. Them say that we are not completely human. We are more animal. So this is them belief, you know. This is what they believe and this is what they teach their children. And if you wonder, as I asked earlier, is this system something that is inborn or taught? Or if you keep believing the same thing for generations and generations, after a while it become part of your genetic makeup. Because long time white people been hating black people. Long time. And every time black people talk about loving and expressing love, whether through music or culture, the response is the same. So we have to stop and check, you know, to see if all our love is in vain. And perhaps we need to turn that love around into self-respect. And from that self-respect, we build a sort of economy around our own talents. Yeah, man, ownership is power. So the American Black launched a civil rights campaign. And we have the story of Medgar Evers. We have the story of Martin Luther King. We have the story of Malcolm X. We have the story of the Black Panther, Angela Davis. It's a whole struggle and a whole history of black people on that American plantation struggling for political rights. Because the American system is driven by politics and economics. And so the black man in America is highly politicized. Far, far more politicized than the black man in the Caribbean. Black man in the Caribbean, much of him time spent in church. But the black man in the plantation in North America had to become political, had to become educated. So there were universities that black man attended from the 1800s. So intelligence and intellect has been a crucial thing that has been developing on the black man and the plantation. There's no doubt about it that the black man in North America has developed a certain level of intellect. To the extent we are in leadership, you know, in certain sporting areas now, black man now have a role. In the early years, a black man would never be a quarterback in the NFL. So within the sporting arena again, this is where we see the changes. There's a time when the New York Knicks were all white men. There's a time when the NBA was a total white league. There's a time when all sports in America were divided by race. Baseball, basketball. There had to be Negro leagues. So it's a deep, deep schism in America. The hatred for the black man there is endless. What is even more painful is the hatred that the black man has for himself. This is the difficulty. And this is where the transformation is needed within the metamorphosis.
Drinking water from the fountain, drinking water from the fountain. While the birds in the trees are singing, that is in the garden cultivating. You in the lawn near playing, chilling on the mountain chanting. Babylon in the city be launching, dreadlocks in the mountain wanting. Babylon lead us right into the mountain. With them from the side, just chanting. Whoa, da da do, da 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 do. Whoa, da da do, da 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 do. Sitting on the mountain chanting. Sitting on the mountain chanting.
Now, the plantation in North America is a very powerful plantation. It is driven really by a sort of thing that they call a military-industrial complex. This is a big plantation, because this plantation dealing with world governance, world power, nuclear weapon, space station, all them kind of technological contraptions are attached to this civilization. So within it now, there's this black population that's not even sure how to identify itself. When you trace the genesis of these people, of course, I and I were brought into this region, majority coming from the Caribbean, but those who were brought to the Caribbean were brought from the continent. So it's Africans, all the way, the African people. So that is our original identity. And if you even trace that notion of African identity beyond language, of the Greeks and the Romans, the people on the continent, prior to the connection with European or white people, before the Christian era, the people didn't really call themselves Africans, nor did they call themselves Egyptians or Ethiopians. The people them call themselves Kemet. The land was called Kemet, KMT. People were called Kemetic. the philosophy of the people was a Kemetic philosophy. So when we want to bring that term within the consciousness of our discourse, the whole notion of Kemetic philosophy, we're going to begin to focus on as we go through. So we find, say, we are coming from that anciency. And they're being brought into this enslavement on the North American continent and in the Caribbean. Our notion of ourselves now has been fractured. It's like when you drop a piece of glass, it's splinter. Difficulty now is pulling the pieces together. We remember Isis went around Egypt searching for the body of Osiris. She found all the pieces except the penis. Well, whatever that means, we have to also search for the pieces to put our mirror together, that we can see ourselves. Right now, it's sort of fragmented. But the anciency of our identity has been tampered with so seriously. Maybe we have lost it. There is identity theft. And maybe we have experienced that as a people. Because the black man, when he landed in North America now, coming there as an African, he was transformed into a colored man. And then he began to call himself, he began to call himself Negro. And then he moved from Negro to African American. And then he has moved from African American to what next? So there's a difficulty in the African on the continent to keep himself fixated in an identity. When the African used to call himself black, it was very powerful. When we got to rally around the concept of being black and develop the notion of black power, and began the notion of black music, and began to put our cultural energies behind blackness, we began to show up as a force. The society drove away that idea of being black and began to call people African Americans. So we have to recognize who we are once and for all, particularly the man living in North America. This hyphenated African American is disturbing. Because in the reality, the item is really black people. It's black people in America. So clear up the national identity struggle between African and American. If you look at them two ideas of identity and hold on to a blackness, it's a difference, you know. It will make a difference in our approach to even how this basketball owner deal with the team. Because long time in America, black man afraid for embracing blackness. Black man seem to be afraid in America now to talk about blackness. Because blackness is a power. It's the same way on this island. They don't encourage the discourse on blackness. They want to talk about class and religion. But at the foundation of the unity of the people here who have been enslaved for over 500 years, the foundation at the identity level is our blackness. And our blackness rests in the fact that we are of a functional pineal gland, that the melanin flows, and that melatonin comes from the pineal gland, and it creates that condition in our skin where we can absorb light and hold it. We can hold solar energy. We are black people.
Oh, it's a shame I'm feeling pain. Oh, it's a shame I'm feeling pain. My brothers and my sister going down the drain. Brothers and my sister going down the drain. The Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. I want to know that Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. They take us from Africa and brought us in Jamaica. They brought us in Jamaica. They even stole our name and let us work the sugar cane. The Babylon release the chain, but them I use them brain. I want you know, the Babylon release the chain, but them I use them brain. Yeah, use them brain. Use them brain. Oh shit. Say Babylon release the chain, but them I use them brain. I want you know, say Babylon release the chain, but them I use them brain. No chain on our feet, but still we are not free. Oh, oh yeah. See, all they using us is strategy. Yeah, yeah. So please have some mercy on us. Don't treat us this way. I know one day we'll get your pay. Oh, yeah. Them release the chain, them I use them brain.
So Brother Marcus Garvey went into the North American plantation. Marcus Garvey went to the plantation at a time when the plantation was in a little uproar. But the Africans there already were talking about back to Africa, you know. Yeah, man, there were already movements in North America now to return to the continent. Because once someone realized that anyway the amongst the white man is going to be brutal. It was a long time the black people in North America realized that them can't make it in America, you know. They realized that them not going to make it. Especially all the setup. Because the nature of the being, the nature of the white man is to be oppressive. Ask his women. So imagine I now considered an alien. I was been defined now as a heathen. He has been defined as ungodly. So within those definitions now, we have been exposed to extreme brutality. Yeah man, quartering, cutting off of neck and spitting off pregnant women. The most barbaric behavior I have observed. It does not make I any more barbaric towards him. Because the teaching is that he is representation of divine powers. And that his representation now is in the Son of the Almighty. And it's Almighty that we have been programmed to fear. And the Son that was sent by the Almighty looked just like the slave owner.